Satan has made the minds of our children his special target. Psychologists tell us that less than half of the population are even capable of formal reasoning.
Independent thinking is such a critical life skill.
If you don't think for yourself, somebody else will be thinking for you.
If our thinking isn't governing our behavior, somebody else's thinking is.
The end time battle is a battle for the mind.
Theories abound in regard to the best practices for raising and educating children. Can we even know what methods really work best? What if today's most common practices are actually doing our children more harm than good? Most importantly, what is the spiritual impact of our educational and child-rearing practices?
Satan understands brain development, and he knows that if he can engineer the upbringing of the child during its earliest years, he can destroy their thinking abilities and get them to simply reflect other men's thoughts. He will get them to go with the flow, and his end-time goals will have been met.
Using the latest in brain science and educational research, Joshua White pulls back the veil to expose some of Satan's most successful attacks on our children today.
Joshua White's A Thinking Generation seminar paints a clear and compelling picture of God's methods of raising and educating children for the last days.
Satan attacks on all fronts. Our children are immersed in a media culture like no other generation. We see age segregation like never in history. Families are being pulled apart by the pressures of society. But it's not just societal trends. Some of Satan's most successful strategies are false educational practices. Brain science is clearly telling us that some of the very things we consider normal and beneficial are in fact very harmful to the developing mind. Society pressures parents to focus so much attention on children's early academic success, while brain science tells us that the development of spirituality, of cause to effect reasoning, of emotion and behavior and language and conscience development, character development is centered, it's focused in the first few years of a child's life. Our children are missing out on the most important experiences of early childhood.
The future happiness of our families and the welfare of society depend largely upon the physical and moral education which our children receive in the first years of their life.
Parents, will you recognize your responsibility? More than that, will you accept your responsibility? You have the salvation of your children and the future of the world in your hands.
Better understand the principles of true education. Learn practical tips for everyday life with your child, and gain a renewed inspiration for your important work as a parent. Supplied with a wealth of knowledge and practical ideas, you will leave this seminar better equipped to raise and educate your children for God's kingdom.
These seminars brought more conviction to my heart about what true education means. I was very happy to understand in a practical way God's plans for our family. It has made our lives easier and more peaceful.
Joshua's seminars have given our family so many practical ideas for our daily life.
Joshua's seminars have been a huge blessing to our family, and now learning is just so much fun.
I've always had a scientific mind. I've always loved to learn about science and new information, and I love the way Joshua has presented modern science and how it shows what is good for children, what is bad for children, and what we need to be doing.
If you don't know how your kid's brain works, this seminar is for you. You will learn a lot of things that you have never thought about. You should come to this seminar.
And this is how we can raise a spiritually strong generation. A generation of thinkers, of leaders, a generation who influences instead of being influenced, an entire generation that will not be deceived, a generation to finish the work on this earth, a thinking generation.